Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast. Podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. And we are back 2 weeks in a row.
Woohoo!
Which is something we haven't done in a while.
It's been difficult lately.
My name is Joe. This is my lovely wife and co-host Caroline.
Hey!
And today we are going to be super concise because we're tired and we have stuff to do.
We have a whole house to clean. I don't know how many people are coming over, but I think it's going to be a lot.
But we are actually not going to talk about that. We are going to talk about our recent trip to Indianapolis. So if you want to hear about our family, like kid adventures, our family adventures with our kids.
The kids side of Indianapolis.
Yeah, the Children's Museum, the Cincinnati Zoo.
The what zoo?
Or the Indianapolis Zoo. That is something that we talked about in last week's episode.
Yep.
And of course, this week we are going to be talking about
beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good.
About the beer
and stuff.
About the beer side of Indianapolis.
You didn't like my song?
I said we were going to be concise.
Oh, whoops. Whoops-a-doodle. Okay. So, concise. What you drinking? I am recovering from illness, so I am taking a break from beer.
So this is a Indianapolis craft beer. It is called Guggman. It's a Hefeweizen German style wheat ale by Guggman Haus Brewing.
I believe, that they say Hefeweizen, which makes me hurt. I don't.
So they say, raise a glass to cobbled streets, half-timbered houses, and Gemütlichkeit. This traditional German Hefe, they say Hefe, as you said, is brewed with imported German malted wheat and Bavarian Hallertau hops. With notes of banana and clove, Guggman pairs best with warm pretzels and grape friends. Prost.
I think we drank that the last episode.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think about that.
This is what I was in the mood for, so.
Tis the season. It's not hotter than hot outside today, but it has been recently.
My phone said 89 at one point. Not sure if that was right.
I didn't feel like I was dying at work, so it wasn't too bad.
Just to finish the beer, it is 5.7% ABV, 12 IBUs.
Yep. Okay. So we managed to visit 6 breweries in 3 days, 7 breweries in 4 days, if you include Westside Brewing. Because West Side. Thank you, Self. So our first brewery that we visited was after the Children's Museum, and we went to St. Joseph Brewing, which is in downtown Indianapolis, and according to their website, the most unique dining experience in Indianapolis since 2015. So they've been around as long as we've been married. We chose St. Joseph due to a website that I found on family-friendly breweries in Indianapolis, because up until recently, you were only allowed to have children at a brewery if it was a brew pub or had some kind of like superfood option, more restaurant than brewery.
A lot of the restaurants a lot of the breweries in Indianapolis tend to be restaurants.
Yeah, and that's part of that is due to the beer laws. So if you want to have a wider variety of people that can come, you need to have a good food option on hand. Also the name, we have a Joe, so we have to go to St. Joseph. And we figured it would be a good place to stop as our first brewery. Since it was our first brewery, we didn't really go for the food. We did get an appetizer. But we mostly just went for the beer and to have a nice little chill time with the kids after we wore their butts out at the Children's Museum. So, according to the website, they have been open. They were established in 2015, but the building that houses the restaurant and brewery has quite a history. In order to meet the growing demands of the population in the northeast section of Indianapolis, the Catholic Archdiocese of Indianapolis, led by Bishop St. Paulus, established the parish of St. Joseph in 1873. I need to read ahead before I read out loud. At that time, it was the fourth Catholic parish in Indianapolis. So it was originally a two-story brick structure. Again, I need to read before I say it out loud. My brain's going confused. And so it's been around since the late 1800s. And the building has. And at one point they wanted to build a newer and bigger church, but the bishop said no. They established a hospital and something about they built a new church near the hospital. And the cornerstone of the building was laid by the new bishop in July of 1879. And it was a Gothic church designed by Diedrich A. Bohlen of Hamburg, Germany. And it was finished in less than a year at a cost of $17,000. How would you like to have your own Catholic church for the low, low price of $17,000?
Holy moly.
I mean, that's probably a lot of money adjusted for inflation. But yeah, that's pretty cheap. They really go into the history of the bishops and the priests. And there's a lot of stuff that we're not super interested in.
So why does it say why it's not a Catholic church anymore?
The last mass in St. Joseph Church was June 26th of 1949. So it was only a Catholic church for less than 100 years.
So they just moved. They moved to the new church and they left it.
I mean, they were at the new church for 50-ish years, 70-ish years. It was still owned by the Archdiocese and was converted to the Catholic Community Center to be used as a meeting hall and auditorium. But the church itself finally closed in 1954. So that's all history on the building. I thought there was going to be history on the brewery too in that. I did not read ahead. I should have done that. But I mean, it's a really cool church building. And if you know how most churches are structured, the brew deck is where you would hold mass, like where the priest would do all of the massy kind of things, which was pretty cool. They had nice seating. They had low tops. They had high tops. They had bars. They had bar seating. I got a flight while we were there. One of my chaotic flights where I get like a sour and a Pilsner and an IPA and a stout. And I'm like, this is tasty. I like to see all of the things that you have on offer. And the whole time I had a passed out Elliot on my chest because he was conked. So Towards the end of our time there, I get up. The beers were all really good. I don't think we had a bad beer in Indianapolis. Definitely different vibes than Cincinnati, but all the beers were really solid. So I get up with Elliot still to go look at their t-shirt selection because Joseph need to get a shirt. And as I'm walking back, there is a guy wearing a shirt, and I want to say it was Ass Clown Brewing. I'm going to have to Google this now.
Let's just say it is.
Yeah, it was Ass Clown Brewing. And I was like, where is that? And he was like, my friend owns the place, and it's like in North Carolina. And he opened up a second tap room in a different city, and they weren't initially allowed to call it Ass Clown. They had to call it something else on the outside. But everything inside was still the same thing. And he had an accent because he was from England and he was visiting for business. He brews over in England. So I chatted with him for a little bit. He recommended that we go to Deviate, said Deviate has the best beers in the city. Talked a little bit about our travels, and then we went on our way. But he was a really nice guy. The staff at St. Joseph was really nice as well.
We went late afternoon, so it was pretty empty.
Yeah, it was definitely not. It was like mid-afternoon on a Monday, not peak hours for anyone to be anywhere at a brewery, except for the bums that are off work on holiday. Yeah, so it was really nice. I'm glad we went. We didn't get any to-go beers.
I don't know if they offered.
I'm not sure if they did either.
Like cans. I'm sure they did like growlers and stuff like that.
Yeah, they might have done crowlers. We didn't really want to get crowlers. We wanted to get like legit cans because we wanted to make sure they would travel well. And we weren't sure when we would open them all up. And then as the kids were starting to get more active, it was time to go to dinner, which was at Oaken Barrel.
This is one of Indianapolis's like OG. Is that right?
Yeah. So
brew pubs.
Yeah. So talking to people, it's an OG brew pub. They have like 6 beers, and that's it. Those are like the 6 beers that they do. They rotate out some seasonal stuff.
It gave me rock bottom vibes.
Yeah.
That's not a insult or a compliment. It's just Rock Bottom was a brewery. They had the tanks in the middle of the restaurant, and but it was a restaurant. Like that was probably the main focus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that was the case for this one, but if they focused on the beer or the food, but it was good. Both the beer and the food were good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely more like in the fact that we were there on a Monday night and we had to wait to get to a table.
Yeah,
it was only like 20 minutes, but we had to wait for a table.
That one was more crowded.
Yeah. We were also there probably more at like normal foodish times.
We were there at peak dinner time.
Yeah. So per the website, through 30 years of creating award-winning food and beer, Oaken Barrel has remained Indiana's premier must-visit brew pub. The restaurant includes a family section, 2 bars, the outside dining area, and a small banquet facility. Brewmaster John Treater gourmet ales and lagers complement Oaken Barrel's Nuevo American menu, which boasts a variety of salads, sandwiches, and entrees. Favorites include mesquite smoked ribs and Cajun jambalaya pasta. So they have a Critics' Choice Award from Indianapolis Monthly for the best brew pub in Indy. Their chefs take pride in the quality and creativity of their specials. And they're open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. And that was actually, like, everything was reasonably priced as well, which was nice. So I guess we were in the family section of the brew pub because we were in a booth. So we didn't really get to, like, see a whole lot. Mm-hmm. Especially with kids, it's harder to wander because if you start to wander, they start to wander.
If I'm remembering correctly, there was a lot of stuff on the walls.
There was. They had posters and pictures on the walls. There was something that was a Seinfeld poster. I think they might have had like a Friends reference as well. And we did end up taking home a 6-pack of beer from there because they had a cooler right in the front when you walked in. So it was really easy to find. And they were solid, simple beers. Wasn't anything too crazy.
It was just, traditional.
Yeah.
This is your style.
Yeah. Food was good. The kids liked the food. We liked the food. And that's when we started to discover that we needed to go and have a major dollar store visit to keep the children entertained while we went to all of these breweries. Because the kids started getting a little ants in their pantsy. But I mean, they're used to going out to dinner, so they were really well behaved for that. And we managed to hit 2 breweries in one day.
I don't know if they're used to it.
They're getting better about it. It's not as uncommon as it used to be. So then on Tuesday, what did we do? Tuesday, we went to the zoo.
We went to the zoo.
And we were going to try.
We went northern Indianapolis.
Yeah, because we wanted the kids to sleep more. So we went to Deviate Brewing as a after zoo stop with the goal of just having a beer or two and then figuring out where to go for dinner from there. Unfortunately, when we pulled up, well, both kids were sleeping in the car, which was good because they got some rest. When we pulled up, I noticed there was a sign on the door that said 21 and up only. Mm. And I was like, oh no. So I walk in to scout the place out and I'm like, hey, how accurate is that 21 and up sign? And they're like, unfortunately, very accurate. We are in the process of swapping what side of the tap room children are allowed in, and we did not get the approval that we thought that we would. So no one under the age of 21 is allowed in the tap room at this time. So I pick out 2 or 3 beers to get a sample of and really enjoyed them. They were much darker beers than anything else, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, there's like a one of them's 10%.
Yeah, one of them's an imperial. I want to say it's like a s'more or marshmallow something.
Something chocolate, yeah.
Yeah. And then I want to say I might have gotten something that was a little bit lighter, but lighter might be a relative term.
I think it was a coffee blonde.
Coffee blonde sounds right. Because it sounded really good, and it was very good. So Deviate has craft beers that deviate from the norm. Oh, and when I was there, the guy from St. Joseph was there. I don't know if he recognized me, but I waved to him. And I don't know how much he registered that I waved, but it was what it was. So they are very much a small scale brewery and tasting room, purposely built to allow flexibility and deviations to classic beer styles. They have 12 rotating taps. Definitely small, focused on in-house pint sales. They did have a limited offering of 16-ounce cans and 22-ounce bottles. I chose what my samples would be based off of what they had in cans. Definitely. So they say they target those with an adventurous palate who enjoy craft beer with fun flavor combinations. And I would for sure say that this was the brewery that had the most interesting flavor combinations. Not that Joe got to see that.
Yeah, I stayed in the car.
Yeah. The examples that they have are a pina colada IPA with coconut and pineapple, jalapeno cornbread cream ale, and a peanut butter stout. Now, in Cincinnati, we are very much used to peanut butter stouts. The OG is nutcase. It cannot be topped. Please do not try.
I don't know if anyone else really does one.
I don't know either. But like Cincinnati, we're like, yeah, peanut butter stouts, they're the best.
I think it's technically a porter. Is that right?
I don't remember. You can look that up. And yeah, the brewery and the tasting room is located on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Our goal was to drive so the kids would hopefully sleep more. And it mostly worked. So the fundamental philosophies of Deviate Brewing, they have a dedication to produce high quality and unique craft beer offerings on a regular basis, a constant rotation of tap offerings to cater to the adventuresome palate. Again, I need to read before I read. And they're a small-scale brewery specifically designed to allow flexibility to support a diverse tap list that can change with market demands. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, Listerman's Nutcase is an American porter.
Ah, okay. So it's peanut butter porter, which from an alliteration standpoint, I like more. So it was a really yummy brewery. They had a bunch of sports gear on the wall, including Bearcats. And they might have even had Xavier. They for sure had Bearcats and Bengals. Because they pointed it out. And I was like, dang it. I really would love to hang out here. And maybe we're back. Maybe we're not. So Mike and Greg, who are the owners, relocated from the Cincinnati area to Indy in 1995. Were introduced to their first Belgian-style beers, specifically Chimay and Le Chauffe, and have been hooked on good beer ever since, which, I mean, makes sense. We've been drinking German beer for forever. It makes us a little more picky. I mean, I also sometimes have very low standards, though, so I'm not that picky.
You just contradicted yourself.
I know, I did. See, the thing is, like, I can be bougie or I can be hillbilly.
So it depends on your mood.
It really depends on my mood. So they, of course, did the inevitable and started making their own homebrew versions of the shared beers that they loved. And they started making beer about 18 years ago. Fortunately, they both have similar tastes and beer styles, which then turned into, how do we make these ourselves? Because, of course, like, it's definitely going to be cheaper if we make this ourselves all the time. They loved seeing the reactions of their friends and family, so they made more. And Mike is more into the technical side, and Greg is more into what are the new wonky things that we can try. So together they make creative craft beer, and they have a really good working relationship. I don't know exactly how long they've been open because the website doesn't say, but like, I would love to go there again. Like the next time we go to Indy, I would for sure want to try to actually stop and hang out in the tap room.
Or we can see if they distribute their beer.
They specifically say they don't really work on that. They more do stuff out of the tap room.
Okay. Never mind then.
So we went to Deviate, and then we had to pivot because the plan was going to be figure out while we're at Deviate where we're going next out of like 2 or 3 places. And then it became, okay, now we have to figure out exactly where we're going. And we went to I'm going to say this wrong if I don't stare at it while I say it. 4-Day Ray in Fishers.
Yeah, Fishers, Indiana is probably a good half hour north.
It's where I'm used to going. So to me, I'm like, oh, hey, we're in Fishers.
It's a half hour north of Indianapolis, to finish that thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, your cousins used to live there, so we would drive back in the day, 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure when they moved.
I don't remember.
But we stopped going because your cousin went to college and all that.
Yeah.
So she didn't really live in Fishers anymore. So there wasn't really a reason to go there necessarily. But we've been there several times, and man, has it changed since then.
Yeah, I remember when it was like a Hummer dealership and like a Walgreens. And now it's like all of this stuff. Like I think when we got back on the highway, I was like, this might be my aunt's exit. I have no idea. I'm so lost. Like I tried to find her house on Google Maps, and I was like, I honestly don't know anymore because there are so many neighborhoods now. Because she used to be like one of 3 major neighborhoods that had just gotten built. And now there's like 40 of them. It's crazy. But 4-Day Ray Brewing is a family-friendly scratch kitchen and brewery producing and serving award-winning beers made for this moment, brewed for community. Located in the heart of the Nickel Plate District, we offer a unique setting for your next social gathering, date night, private party, or corporate event. And they did have like a little meeting space kind of dealio.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. It was like when you walked in the main door, you went to the right for the main space. And if you went to the left, they had like a little room.
So this kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Summit Park. It has the residential, it has first floor retail, it has a green space.
There was a band that was getting set up or was playing while we were there. Like at the green space.
It's like all new, very built up. Lots of people were there. And then this was at the corner at the end of all that stuff. It was, let's see, what was it? 2 floors?
It was 2 stories.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they were seating people on the second floor or not.
Yeah, that's fair. This was one of those situations where they really wanted to showcase the pub side of it. There, you couldn't really see the tanks. I think the tanks might have been on the second floor.
They were on, so like that little event space that they had, there were tanks there.
Okay.
So I think it might have been like on the back side of the.
So they weren't really prominent. They weren't very prominent.
Yeah.
As far as like, it didn't scream brewery. It screamed the vibe, the atmosphere. It was more restaurant.
Yeah.
A restaurant that makes its own beer. And I don't remember what I got. I think it was something dark.
I don't.
And it was really good.
Let's see what's on tap right now. So they have an Indiana Flyer, which should be like their light beer.
Oh, yeah. Did I get that?
I think you might have gotten the Indiana Flyer, their Indiana Pilsner. Because that sounds like a thing that you did.
I think I got 2 beers, which is probably too many. Because I think the kids were ready to go. And I was like, I want another beer. But I think I got 2 beers. And I think one of them may have been a lager. Oh, what is that?
That's a spider trying to make friends with me.
Oh, flick it away.
I don't know. It went somewhere now. At least I knew where it was before. Now I don't know where it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got the Indiana Flyer, their American light lager. I might have gotten their blueberry blonde. Because I feel like, I'm pretty sure I got a flight everywhere that I went. Because I think I got the blueberry blonde and the blood orange blonde. And I think I might have gotten their Ruby Bloom American Amber.
Yeah, do they have like a brown ale? Maybe I got that. I don't know.
Oh, they do. They have Warring Factions, a brown ale.
And it's like 7% or something.
It was 6, but...
Yeah, I think I got that.
Joe doesn't remember what he got.
It was really good, whatever it was. But yeah, it was very restaurant forward as far as brewery goes. But that kind of increased the family friendliness because we could sit down. There was a table. There was a waiter or a waitress. And they came to us, and it was very convenient.
Yeah.
But if you just wanted to go and chill and hang out, I guess they did have a bar for you to do that.
They had a bar. They had a patio.
It's not like, West Side Brewing.
Yeah.
You can just go and hang out. And
I mean, you can. It's just a little... If they get busy, they're going to kind of want you to go somewhere. Because they want to move tables because it's a restaurant.
yeah. Yeah. That would be my concern with the brew pub model. But what was so the next day was Wednesday.
Yeah, and that was just we do whatever we want to day. We didn't have anything.
We didn't have any plans.
No. Well, we
specific plans.
We had to hit the hotel pool because the kids knew there was a pool at the hotel, and we had yet to visit the hotel pool, and the kids were going to riot if they didn't get to swim in the super awesome, just rectangular hotel pool.
I think that's...
Lily would have had an issue if we wouldn't have swam.
I mean, we were just at a hotel and we did not swim, so...
But you also stayed up till midnight, and we're not really spending a lot of time at the hotel. So I think that was definitely... I don't even think I sent you guys with swimsuits.
No, you did
even
not.
I knew there was no way you guys were going to swim. There wasn't time for it.
That's a story for a different day.
Yeah. So our goal was to find somewhere where that would be super family friendly, that we could hang out at for a while, and the kids would be mostly okay. So we went to Guggman Haus, the place where Joe is currently drinking beer from. They are a local family-owned and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house just northwest of downtown Indy. They are closed on Mondays. And Tuesdays, they don't open until 3. But Wednesdays through Sunday, they open at either 11 or 12. So
we went there for lunch, and the coffee house, I think, it's technically separate.
Yeah, the coffee house
is in a
separate
building.
They are closed on Mondays as well, though. But they're open Tuesday through Sunday.
We did not explore the coffee house.
No, and if we had known about no, we wouldn't have gotten there any sooner, because pool. But they have a nice outdoor patio area. They're really close to
Speedway.
Yeah, the Speedway. So their location used to be a garage for the Speedway, for one of the race teams. So they had some of the history of that up on the walls. We didn't spend a lot of time inside. We mostly spent time outside in the beer garden, which was gravel, which was nice because the kids dug in the gravel a little bit. They had Giant Connect 4, which the kids liked to play with. And there were 2 other families there with small children while we were there, which it was lunch on a Wednesday. Don't you people have jobs? But also we're here, so...
In August, yeah.
Yeah, in August.
So it was still summer.
Yeah. No, this was July.
It was July. Yeah, you're right.
It was July.
It was July. It was still summer, regardless.
It was definitely still summer. So I want to say this also popped up in my family friendly brewery list. But like we also tried to like talk to people about like where we were planning on going next. When we were at St. Joseph, like everybody knew about Oaken Barrel, but like no one had been. And I was like, this place has been around for forever. Like, what are you guys doing? But we tried, like, usually people had good stuff to say about whatever it was that we were going to go do next. And so for Guggman Haus, they are a small microbrewery to deliver bold versions of modern and experimental beer styles in a welcoming retreat. They're the old stomping grounds for Boyle Racing headquarters, and from Germany to Denver to one of the most historic sites of racing in Indianapolis. So they've been around. So the idea for them came around in 2015 from twin sisters, Courtney and Abby, and their husbands Derek and Ryan. So their last name is Guggenberger, which is where Guggman comes from. And they lived in Germany for a while where they learned to appreciate quality beer. And so there's Guggenberger and there's Gorman. And the Gorman spent time in Denver, in the local beer scene in Denver, along with mountains, because that's like all there is to do in Denver.
How many times have you been to Denver?
0. I am very interested in going to their airport, though.
Yeah.
Because Illuminati, lizard people, whatever.
We hear a lot about the tunnels at the Denver airport. Always seems to come up.
It does.
The weird murals, too. Isn't there like a...
Yeah, that's like the Illuminati influence. So back to the Guggenbergens and the Gormans. They have a passion for exploration of cultures, community, and the outdoors, which led to craft beer. So they wanted to create a physical space for community to gather and beer to be shared. And then Guggman is their last names smushed together into a thing. And of course they spell house the proper way.
Yes. Even if they don't pronounce Hefeweizen the right way.
Yeah. Because the tap room is an extension of their homes. So yeah, it was definitely very family friendly. The food was really good.
Yeah, so the inside was kind of set up like a lounge.
Yeah, it was more like a hunting lodge kind of
vibe.
Yeah,
there was a couch. There were games inside, like board games and stuff. There was like, I think, picnic tables, like seating.
Yeah, I think it was picnic table seating inside. That feels right.
Yeah, I think they had like private space too.
They did have a private space as well, and like they had a giant mural of here is an old photo of Boyle racing people here.
Yeah, and they did have a kitchen. It was kind of hidden, like it was there, but it wasn't very prominent. This kind of felt like more of a brewery, right?
Yeah, it felt more like a brewery where it's like
where it had
you go to
food.
Like a Listerman or a West Side, and it's like, well, here's the bar, but you have to order food over here through this window.
Yeah.
And then they'll bring you the food, but you got to go to this window over here. You can't do it at the bar.
Yeah, and I think there was a fireplace too, or am I imagining?
There was.
Yes, okay. There's a big table and a fireplace. So, of course it was super hot, but so that wasn't necessary, but I really did like the atmosphere. I liked the vibe. The beers were very German. They had quite a few on draft, but probably at least 12, if I'm remembering.
Definitely at least 12.
But I think probably half or more than half were just like traditional German styles. The rest were a little bit different, but
a little more craft beer-y.
Yeah. But they definitely had something for everyone. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the food was good. The kids ate it. I think, did I get a salad?
I think you did.
Yeah.
Or no, Lily and I think you got a salad, and I think Lily and myself split a salad. Because one of the places that we went to, I got a salad, and I did not give Lily enough of the salad. Oh, yeah. And she was very sad about that. So I got us a salad to split, and then she only ate like 4 bites of it. Kids, you order them what they want, and then they just don't want it anymore.
Yeah, it was a really good salad. Sometimes I just crave like really fancy salads with like, cranberries and walnuts and
your body's like
grilled chicken.
Please give me something other than Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah, but they had other stuff too. But yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed the beer. The Hefeweizen especially. I remember it being very warm. Mm-hmm. It really hit the spot, and they poured it in a Pilsner glass.
Yeah. So we hung out in the beer garden, which they had a covering over, so it was shaded. And it was a lot of picnic tables. We could have hung out inside, but the weather was great and most people were outside. And the kids are a little bit more tolerable when they're outside. When we're there for like an hour and a half or so. When it was time for us to leave, Lily decided that this would be the perfect time to showcase her traditional German dancing and was attempting to dance as we were going to the parking lot, which was pretty cute. And then that's when we went to a park so we could wear the kids out. And then we went to downtown Indianapolis, like downtown Indianapolis. And we walked around downtown, which was nice. We got some nitrogen frozen ice cream because it's always fun when the kids get to watch a show and get some ice cream. And then we parked the car near Taxman Brewing City Way, which is their downtown space. And we walked to ice cream, and then we walked through the main city circle. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a giant statue there.
I think it's just called Circle Street.
It probably is. Things are named very matter of fact.
It's a Civil War monument, if I'm remembering correctly.
That sounds right. And of course, as soon as we are at a place where there's nothing, Elliot's like, I have to go potty. So we stop at a chocolate shop and get some chocolate, which was nice. And they were nice enough to let Elliot use their bathroom.
Yeah, the sign said no public restroom.
And I'm like, can you let our little guy use the bathroom?
So he gave me a key, and I had to take the freight elevator down.
I started to get worried about you guys. I was like 5 minutes away from calling the cops. Like, I don't know where my husband went, but he should have been back by now with my son.
So we took the sketchy elevator down to the basement.
Yeah.
And we went potty. It was a normal bathroom. I mean, it was not super sketchy or anything, but
it was just interesting.
It's just interesting how to get there. It was attached to a hotel.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So they took pity on us, so Elliot got to actually use the bathroom. And then we walked past.
You did buy chocolate too.
I did buy chocolate too. Which was good. We needed a snack when we got back to the hotel anyway. Did any of that make it home? I don't think it did.
I don't know.
So we walked past the Pacers Stadium, and is it the Fire?
I have no idea.
The boys basketball stadium and the girls basketball stadium. We walked by those, so we got to see a giant poster of Caitlin Clark. They had some basketball, like Cincinnati has the Big Pig gig. Indianapolis had a bunch of giant basketballs that were painted with different stuff. And we got to see that. And then we went to Taxman Brewing, who Lily both liked and disliked being there because their mascot, logo, whatever you want to call it, is a skeleton. And Lily doesn't like skeletons. To which she tells the hostess when we get there, like, this is scary. I don't like this. You guys should change this. And then Elliot puts his hand on his chest and says, "There's a skeleton inside of me." Which is true. But it's hilarious. I don't know if he fully understands that. If he does, kudos to him. Because it's when your brain starts thinking about it, you're a brain inside a skeleton, inside a meat suit, and the brain is controlling the meat suit. But like, you're just like that thing. It's
In salt water.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
But anyway, so Taxman was this the final one?
This was the final brewery that we went to in Indianapolis.
This is a little more like upscale. I would
was.
say
It was a little bougie for the kids.
Yeah, I don't know how family friendly it was, but
There was another family that got. There was like a family. There were like 2 or 3 families that got there like as we were leaving. Because again, we were there like right before normal people dinner time.
I think they just opened. I think they opened at 4. We got there a little after 4.
Yeah, because like
something like that.
It was like we couldn't park the car and then go to Taxman. Like we had to meander, no matter what. I'm pretty sure.
So the lighting was kind of dim.
Yeah, it was.
It was also about the storm.
Yeah, it gave some OTR vibes.
Yeah. Wooden tables. Water and glass jugs, mason jars.
It might have been mason jars, but it was like the pop top bottle.
Like, did they pour them in mason jars? I don't remember.
Probably.
It was very hipstery. Like you said, OTR feels. Mm-hmm. Big bar in the center and like the middle back part of the thing, and then just dining.
So they had a second floor. Like half a second floor for inside seating. They had a lot of outside seating, and they had an outdoor bar and an indoor bar. And there was some get together at the outdoor bar.
And again, this was more of like a restaurant forward.
Yeah, definitely. More, like lots of beer available.
For sure. Yeah. I don't know if this is their only.
It's not their only location.
So that they may not even that this may not be their primary brewing space.
Yeah.
So that might be why. But I don't even know if they had a tank in the building. If it was, I'm sure it was probably upstairs. Because you said there was a second floor.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, I'm remembering that.
So about Taxman Brewing. They are Belgian-inspired, American-crafted, which definitely makes sense from the beer list that we had. It was a lot of more traditional Belgian-y kind of beers. And they had tax-forward names. One of the beers that I got was Gold Standard. I think Joe got a 1040 Easy as one of his beers. which is a tax form if you're not aware. I had to stock them at the library back when your only option was to do paper taxes, and you would go to the library to get your free tax forms.
I don't know if it was the only option.
Maybe it might not. They might have been moving more towards online stuff back then, but this was been like
I did TurboTax.
2005 to 2009-ish.
I worked at La Rosa's at 2007, so I did TurboTax.
Yeah, towards the end of my time there, we stopped doing it because we had to tell the old people they couldn't get their forms there anymore.
Well, I'm sure you still had that as an option. You said it was the only option.
I said it might have been. I don't know. I wasn't doing taxes at that point. So Taxman Brewing is the culmination of a passion for beer, food, travel, and friendship. Our story begins in Belgium, a country the size of New Jersey that boasts several thousand different beers and hundreds of community-based breweries. It was in Belgium that three of our founders met and began extensively researching the wide variety of local beer options. They fell in love with the unique flavors imparted by the Belgian yeast, and when they arrived back in the States, it was time to open a brewery. So they were founded in 2013. But the location that we went to didn't open until 2019. And I'm pretty sure it's just tap room because I don't remember seeing any stainless there. And it didn't really seem like there was room for any equipment to hide. So they started off with homebrew recipes. And they partnered with another local brewery to get beer out to market. And since it was Belgian style beer, it was the gamble to see how it would be received. The first beer they sold was in December of 2013. So that was 11-ish years ago now. They should be celebrating their 11th anniversary this year. They opened up a restaurant in 2014 to a packed house. And they quickly declared its brewing independence on November 5th of 2014 with Declaration, the first beer that they brewed in their Barkersville location. And they began getting a name for quality beers in their Belgian style ales. And they continue to produce beers on their original 20 barrel system. So 2015, they had their first year of being fully independent, and they started packaging their beers in bombers and quickly shifted to mobile canning lines because that's when canning started to become more of a thing. And they got a bronze award at the Great American Beer Festival for qualified quadruple ale. And since that beer has received 3 GABF medals. A gold in the Brussels Beer Challenge, 5 European Beer Star Awards, and 3 Best in Style from the World Beer Awards. Their first Death and Taxes Day, held on April 18th, 2015, hosted 13 breweries and 2 wineries. So maybe we can try to show up for a Death and Taxes Day. I feel like that would be a lot of fun. They opened up a second location in 2017. They typically, most of their locations are in historic buildings. Well, at least the 2 first locations were historic buildings. And then 2019, the location that we went to was opened up. They call it a rustic gastropub event and live music venue and beer garden right in the center of Indianapolis. The Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I think, is where the Pacers play. Because that is what is adjacent to.
It is right there. So if you are going to a Pacers game, stop by.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
You'd be stupid not to stop by there.
Yeah.
So now they've got a hospitality group that helps manage their food. And 2024 was the biggest death and taxes day yet for their 10th anniversary. So yeah, I mean, it was good beer. I'm pretty sure Elijah recommended that we go stop by Taxman. And Elijah knows what good beer is, and it was good beer. We did bring some beers home. I don't remember what we brought home.
Just it's a blue can, blue and black can. I forget. Probably.
I'm sure we'll drink it on the pod at some point. Deduction, a Belgian style, maybe. Is it La Mason?
Yeah, it's
the farmhouse style.
Pretty sure it's the farmhouse. Because I like farmhouse, and that's like a underrepresented beer, I feel like.
Yeah, I really miss the first International Women's Day event that we went to at Listerman. They did a farmhouse style beer, and then they did 2 different adjuncts for it, and it was so good. And I miss that beer so much. I want them to do it again. But we've got some good farmhouse ales in the city as well.
Humble Monk does or did one. It's been a while since we've been.
Yeah, well, they're still in the process of moving.
And they're in the process of moving, and I'm sure with all the laws and stuff, I don't know if they can bring the old beer to the new place. They had to brew new beer.
I know they're able to do some stuff at Urban Artifact, and they do have beer on tap in the city. Just not their spot.
They had to sell it all, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I don't know. It's weird. You can't just bring beer from one building to another. Like there's a whole bunch of laws around that.
Yeah. So we were very fortunate for our trip that our kids let us go to 6 breweries in 3 days. And they were, I'd say, mostly too well behaved for all of it.
We didn't go during peak times either. So, I mean, it was mostly...
Oaken Barrel was the only one that we went to during a peak time to be there.
And that had it was basically a restaurant.
Yeah, that was definitely way more restaurant vibes than brewery vibes.
Taxman was like a restaurant. I mean, it does help that these breweries are in Indianapolis that we went to had a restaurant feel to them.
Yeah.
So that helped, I feel like, with the behavior and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to say about Indianapolis was a funny story. We went to St. Joseph, as we mentioned before, and we were part of the 513 craft beer group.
Yep.
Which is managed by Zach Colley, among other
And we had plans to go to St. Joseph Brewery on Monday for at least 4 days. That was the only thing that we knew for sure. Was we're going to go to St. Joseph on Monday after the museum center. So we get into town Saturday night and Blake is at St. Joseph.
Yeah, so Blake the Brewery Explorer, he has a podcast. He has multiple podcasts, actually.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. He was there. Zach Colley was there. I feel like. And there was another person who was there.
So Blake recorded a few different episodes. He didn't record one at St. Joseph, but he recorded a few episodes in Indianapolis with breweries there. One of which was with Sun King. And then Zach Colley posted that he was at St. Joseph. And then I want to say it was just those two, but it was good things come in 3. When I posted it, it was good things come in 3s. And then I think somebody else might have gone the next day. And it was just everybody in Cincinnati's going to St. Joseph this weekend.
It was an odd coincidence.
It was a very odd
and
coincidence.
I feel like we missed Zach Hawley by like an hour.
Yeah, we definitely missed him by not that much time.
I would have been wild if we just randomly showed up to a Indianapolis brewery and we just saw a bunch of Cincinnati people. That would have been wild.
Yeah.
But that did not happen. But
it did almost. Well, we might have.
It almost happened.
Yes, it almost happened in Indianapolis, and it almost happened in Nashville as well. So when we were in Nashville, somebody else from the 513 Craft Group Beer Group was also in Nashville. So like he's posting photos at one brewery while we're posting photos at another brewery. And at no point did we ever cross paths, but I thought we got real close at one point. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to go to Indianapolis again to drink some more beer. Definitely make like an extended weekend out of it again, where it's like we can hit up the museum, maybe hit up the zoo again, and get some more beer.
Indianapolis is a fun city for sure.
Minus the construction.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
The construction made it hard to get around everywhere, but we just used our GPS, so it wasn't too bad.
Like all of the highways are under construction. And one of them is shut down.
Yeah.
Like the main Indianapolis bypass, was it 465?
Yeah, 465, like a whole section of it just completely shut down in one direction.
Yeah, I don't get it, you guys.
I mean, the Norwood Lateral is still shut down in one direction right now, so.
Oh, is it?
You don't go to the east side, so you don't pay attention. So the Norwood Lateral, they closed.
I go to Blue Ash. Is that not east side?
You don't go via like downtown-y kind of things. No, so they closed the Norwood Lateral in one direction. It got done like 2 days early. And then when they closed it down in the other direction, now it's getting done like a week late. So.
I do remember 275 being under construction, but it was never shut down.
No, but like I learned how to drive on 275 in heavy construction. It heavily shaped who I am as a person.
Yeah.
It was very nerve-wracking.
It was something else for sure.
It was not fun.
Yeah, we went to laser tag quite a bit. So.
Yeah, laser tag and Kings Island and like everything involved 275.
Tri-County, the movie theater out there. Even though there's a movie theater right here, we would sometimes they didn't have the right time that we wanted, so we would go out to Tri-County.
It's crazy the things that you do as a teenager. Like I drove to Kings Island to hang out at Kings Island for like 2 hours. And at no point now would I ever do that. Like it's a minimum. I have to be there at least 4 hours to make it worth it. Otherwise I ain't going. Now, granted, I only go on P&G Day now. This is the first year we're going to have to like buy a ticket because the kids are bigger and I don't think I can sneak them in. So I'm not going to sneak them in. I'm going to buy them a ticket. Elliot's still young enough to get in, but Lily is not. And Lily's almost 4 feet tall, people. She does not pass a small child anymore. And like, she is a person. It is.
Yes, she is a person.
Like, she very much has her very own thoughts and opinions, and she will let you know what those are at the drop of a hat. Most of them just involve her wanting to dance in color. She is very simple. But sometimes, man.
Anything else you want to say about Indianapolis?
I'm glad we went. I'm hoping we can go again. I definitely like the Cincinnati beer scene a little bit more. But, I mean, it's also my home, so it's what I know.
Do you think we can do 3 weeks in a row? We will find out next week.
We'll see. Maybe we can record something tomorrow.
Find out next week.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging with us as we kind of are figuring out life with 2 larger children that don't rest as much.
Don't nap, yeah. So this is the Craft Parenting Podcast. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, make sure you
slam that like button, smash subscribe, ring that notification bell, 5-star review.
Yeah, give us that 5-star review on Apple's and Spotify. Apple Podcast and Spotify. I almost said iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, do that. Elijah, I'm talking to you. Give us a 5-star rating so we can get more listeners and get boosted in that algorithm. Also, we are on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Rumble. If you want to help us grow, make sure to follow us on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We're really hoping to get to 50 followers or whatever, so we can do more things with less, with whatever it's called. We're hoping to do more things with less equipment.
Yeah.
Which I think 50 is the threshold for that. So that would be helpful. And will we see you next week? Find out, and we'll let you know.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.